and welcome to this edition of Watercolour Whizz. I'm Alison Fennell, the portrait artist. This time we're going to paint this gorgeous garlic bulb with lots of papery skin, some lovely sort of yellow, the stalk and the body's got hints of sort of violet in there. And if we turn it upside down, look, we can really see how strong those shadows are under the bottoms of those sort of cloves that are sitting within the bulb itself. Okay, so for this tutorial we're going to be using two colour complements. We're going to be using a violet. This is cobalt violet and the colour index number is PV14. Okay, so that's our violet. And then we've also got aureolin and the colour index for that is, let me see if I can find it, PY40, so it's a yellow. So we've got a yellow and a violet opposite each other. And what I've done is, as usual, I've put some of the violet in this part of the well, my ceramic well, and some of the aureolin here with an empty well for us to do some mixing. So let's get into it. So first of all, I'm going to put an amount of water, a few brushfuls of water in the middle well. And again, this is a good way for you to judge how much water you actually need to make enough pigmented wash to colour the inside of the garlic bulb. And again, these things come with practice and experience, and over time you know just how much you're going to need, more or less. Okay, so into this I'm adding some of the aureolin. Very pale yellow. And straight away I feel like I want to add a little bit of the cobalt violet into that, just to sort of tone down the yellow a little bit, because garlic isn't bright yellow, it's slightly muted yellow, isn't it? Quite a muted colour. So adding the cobalt violet, which is this complement on the colour wheel, just mutes that violet, mutes the yellow a little bit, adds a bit more subtlety to it. So I'm going to cover the whole garlic bulb. With this wash, and I like to turn my painting as I go along so that I can get full coverage easily, and I'm painting at a comfortable angle. I'm liking this yellow. It's just been toned down enough to be a more convincing undercoat for the garlic bulb. The paper I'm using is 100% cotton, lovely paper. It stays wet for a long time, giving us plenty of time to adjust and manipulate our paint on the paper. Okay, so that's our garlic bulb with a general wash all over it. I'm going to let that soak in for a few more seconds, and then I feel like I want to add a little bit more of a richer pigment. So I'm adding some more of the aureolin, strengthening it up, and again some more of the cobalt violet. This is the first time I've ever used cobalt violet. I've never bought a tube of it in my 30 years of painting, and it's a really lovely, delightful colour. It's a very quiet colour. It looks very vibrant, but it's not a very strong colour. When you add water to it, it becomes quite pale. Now, as always, if you want to get the outline and my colour reference photo and the grayscale I've prepared, there's a link in the description below, so click that and you can get the outline and these reference photographs. So as we can see in the grayscale, it helps us really see, look how strong the sort of grey areas are and how strong the black, really deep shadow areas are. So let's add now some of these darker areas straight away with this slightly more pigmented wash. So right now we're painting wet into wet because the whole of the garlic bulb is still moist. So any of the paint we add will soften nicely and give us some soft blends. help us to form the garlic bulb. And so I really want a lot of that to settle in those curves at the base, and it will bleed up a little bit. You can see the garlic starting to form already, and there are some nice little accents of the purple coming through. It's granulating on the paper, giving a nice organic sort of look and feel, randomly separating from the aureolin yellow in its own way, which is lovely. And I'm going for a dark. I'm going to use artistic license over here, and although there isn't that much of a strong shadow on the left hand side, I'm going to accentuate it. I'm going to lose most of that sort of side there to a darker value. Before it dries completely, I'd like to just drag out some highlights. So I've rinsed my brush in clear water and I've dried it on flannel, and now on the sunstruck left hand side I'm going to press the brush in, then rinse it and dry it again, and press to suck out some pigment, rinse and dry again, press and take out a highlight on that right hand side of each clove. So we're starting to get more of a form on the garlic clove, okay? There's a bit more, there's more of a highlight here as well. So at this stage I've still got a little bit of moisture and those drier areas where I've sucked out paint. Now I'm going to go in with a tiny bit more moisture and much more aureolin and some more cobalt violet to get a darker tone on the base areas. And we can put a few little sort of strokes in between the cloves to form that separation a bit more clearly. Okay, and now finally much more pigmented mix of the aureolin and the cobalt violet. The base and the left hand neck of the clove. And some separating lines. And maybe some very fine papery lines twisting up towards the neck of the clove, the neck of the bulb, sorry. Just to give you that telltale veiny sort of feel that garlic has. Okay, and then a final little lift of highlight, again using that thirsty brush. So you rinse your brush really well, then you dry it on a flannel and suck out highlights so you can lose some of the little papery lines you just made, that's okay, because we've got to sacrifice some things to the light. And you can even cut in one or two highlights down in that darkened area. Okay, and there's our little garlic bulb. So if you've enjoyed this little tutorial, please click the like button, and if you want to subscribe to this channel, please click the black bell so that you'll get notifications of when I put another YouTube video on. And also, if you'd like my 5 studio resets, it's a 5-page PDF printable, digital printable. There's a link in the description below to get that, and you'll be part of my email group. And I don't spam you, I just send out occasional studio notes and sort of musings on painting through that. So if you sign up, I'll send you the 5 studio resets, which helps you sort of regroup when you're feeling scattered and you can't get traction with your paintings. I'll show you how to paint something simple, something small, something with very little colour or restrained colour, and something that's got a strong emotional memory so that there's more motivation for you to paint. So thanks for watching. I'm Alison Fennell, the Pottery Artist. I'll see you in the next Watercolour Whizz.